In 1998, an American man bought an island for about $8 billion. On the map, you can see this 75-acre island was part of the United States Virgin Islands in the Caribbean. Its name was Little St. James. From the outside, this private island was no less than paradise. Beautiful beaches, lots of greenery. There was a palace-like luxury villa in the middle. There were luxury guest villas all around. 2 large swimming pools, a gym, and a helipad. But hidden inside this paradise was a very dark truth. A truth so dark that people living on nearby islands called
the Pedophile Island.
Girls aged 12 to 17 were trafficked here and sexually abused.
16 years old. This is 16.
17.
14 years old. This is me. This was me. This is me.
These girls couldn't even escape because it was surrounded by sea. The most surprising thing is who used to visit this island. Rich people from around the world, billionaires, and famous celebrities. This includes many big names. Britain's Prince Andrew, scientist Stephen Hawking, comedian Chris Tucker. Countless politicians and billionaires visited this island. Parties were organized for them. But the question is, who owned this island? The answer is one name: Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein once taught math to children in Brooklyn. He was a school teacher, but fate played such a game that later in his career, he suddenly became the financial advisor to billionaires. After accumulating a fortune of nearly $600 million, he becomes a multi-millionaire. His friends included Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and even former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. In today's video, let's learn the whole story, the truth behind America's biggest scandal, the Epstein Files. What was going on, what was happening on Epstein Island, remained hidden for many years. But in 2005, a small police complaint became the trigger for this case. It was March 2005. In Palm Beach, Florida, a 14-year-old girl and her parents filed a complaint at the local police station. The girl said that a classmate from Royal Palm Beach High School had taken her to a rich man's house. She was told she just had to give a massage and would get $200 to $300. But something else happened there. Epstein met that girl wearing only a towel. He asked the girl to take off her clothes and then molested her. When police asked the first victim if she knew of any other girls who had gone to Epstein's, she gave 2 names. When they spoke to those 2 girls, 2 more names came up, and then from those 2 more names came up. The police were shocked to see this chain wouldn't stop. As soon as police tracked one victim, 2 more would appear. Within a few months, the Palm Beach police chief had identified 35 victims, and dozens more were being tracked. The most heartbreaking thing was that every girl's story was exactly the same. Everyone was called under the pretext of a massage.
She led me up a staircase, and we made a right into Jeffrey's room, and Jeffrey laying naked on the massage table.
Most victims were girls aged 13 to 16 and came from poor families. Many didn't have parents. They were orphans, so there was no one to listen to them.
I really wanted this job, so I opened up to them. I said, look, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for me. I've been on the streets, I've been abused, and that's the worst thing that I could have done.
The police saw this was no small case. It was a properly organized pyramid scheme. Every girl got extra money for bringing a new girl. This caused one girl to bring another, and that one to bring a third. In this way, a chain was formed, and most of these girls were under 18. By May 2006, Palm Beach police had prepared a full case against Epstein. The case was so strong that in July 2006, the FBI also began an investigation, named Operation Leap Year. A 53-page report was made. Victim statements were taken from Florida to New York to New Mexico. Epstein was charged with international sex trafficking, 36 underage victims, dozens of witnesses, an FBI investigation, and such serious charges. A man like Jeffrey Epstein should have rotted in jail for life. But the truth is, something else was going on behind the scenes. Miami's federal attorney Alexander Acosta was making a secret deal with Epstein's lawyers. This deal seemed to be made to save Epstein. He just had to plead guilty to 2 minor charges of prostitution, and in exchange, he and his associates were given immunity from all other criminal charges. That is, he could not be prosecuted on any other charge. The most shocking thing about this deal was that it was sealed. That is, no one could even see this deal. The victims were not even told about it. Whereas, according to American law, it is mandatory to inform victims about any such deal. But no one could do anything. On June 30th, 2008, Epstein appears in court and, according to the deal, pleads guilty to 2 charges, after which he is sentenced to only 18 months in prison. During this sentence, Epstein was kept in a private wing of the Palm Beach County Jail. He was given permission to go to his luxury office for 12 to 13 hours, 6 days a week. This was such a first-class level of jail that Epstein only went there to sleep at night. And even after all this, 5 months before his sentence was completed, in July 2009, he was released from jail. All this was possible because of that secret deal, because of Alexander Acosta, who got Epstein this deal. Now, see the twist in the story. This same Alexander Acosta later becomes the Secretary of Labor in the first administration of Epstein's old friend, Donald Trump. For the next several years, Epstein lived his life normally. Nothing happened to him. He traveled in his private jet, threw lavish parties on his island, and met powerful people. Our story would end here. The villain escapes. But in a corner of the world, there was a woman, a journalist who was determined not to let this Epstein get away. Julie Brown. She was an American investigative journalist working for the Miami Herald newspaper. After Epstein's release in 2009, she kept following the case closely. After studying the case for years, in November 2018, she published her report. Not one, not two, but a whole series of reports on Epstein's crimes and how the system saved Epstein. Julie named it Perversion of Justice. These reports brought a new explosion in the media. Public anger awoke. Demands began to rise to investigate Epstein again, and due to all this pressure, in New York, an investigation against Epstein began again. In her investigation, Julie had identified over 80 potential victims. In her reports, she interviewed and documented 8 of them. The evidence was very clear. Therefore, in July 2019, Epstein was arrested once again. This time, he was directly charged with sex trafficking, which could carry a sentence of up to 45 years. But then comes the biggest twist of our story. On August 10, 2019, Epstein is found dead in jail. Officially, the world is told that Epstein used a bedsheet to commit suicide inside his cell. But the circumstances here were such that many questions arose. Actually, the fact is that Epstein was locked alone in his cell that night. There was no other prisoner with him. And by coincidence, that night the jail's cameras were not working. They had some technical problems. Therefore, there is no video footage that shows what actually happened, whether Epstein really did this himself. Because of this, conspiracy theories began to spread that Epstein did not commit suicide here but was murdered. The most amazing thing was that among those spreading these theories were Donald Trump's supporters. Some time later, Trump himself retweeted a tweet that said Epstein did not commit suicide but had secret information related to Bill Clinton. Therefore, Bill Clinton had him killed. In the 2024 American presidential elections, Donald Trump made this a big issue. He promised that upon becoming president, he would make all of Epstein's files public. Repeatedly, whenever asked in interviews if he would declassify the Epstein files,
would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
In January 2025, Trump wins the election again and becomes the president of America. Now everyone was waiting. When will these Epstein files be released? Trump's supporters, in particular, were most excited about this. But in July 2025, the Justice Department of the Trump administration announced that no list of Epstein's clients exists and now no files will be released. Then Trump himself took a U-turn. He started calling the Epstein files a boring issue, started saying it's a Democratic Party hoax that will never end. Trump said the FBI should focus on important issues like voter fraud and not waste its energy and time on issues like Epstein. Now, no one's supporters are so foolish that they wouldn't notice this. So Trump's own supporters began to question why Trump suddenly went quiet. Elon Musk even tweeted saying that Trump's name is in the Epstein files. That's why the files are not being released. Although later Elon deleted this tweet, the message was clear. Even Trump's closest supporters were becoming suspicious. And when people tried to search on their own, some very shocking facts emerged here. Trump and Epstein's old friendship. A very old connection. According to the New York Times, Trump and Epstein were best friends for almost 20 years. This friendship began in the 1980s, and by the 1990s, it became so deep that both started spending time together in each other's bungalows, offices, at Trump's Plaza Hotel and casinos. Epstein was seen with Trump at almost every party. According to a former former employee of Epstein. In the 1990s, Trump and Epstein talked on the phone at least 3 times a week. Often, Epstein would talk to Trump on speakerphone in the office. In these conversations, Trump would boast in front of Epstein about what he had done with which woman. According to model Stacey Williams, women were like trophies for Trump and Epstein. Stacey alleged that in 1993, when she was dating Epstein, one day she went with him to Trump Tower. There, Trump pulled her towards him and touched her inappropriately. Epstein was watching all this happen, and according to Stacey, Epstein liked that he had a model whom Trump was chasing. Similarly, according to another victim, at the parties where Epstein forced her to have relations with other guests, Trump was also present. Trump also traveled on Epstein's private jets, on which Epstein often sexually abused girls. In 2002, Trump himself said about Epstein, "He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side," meaning Trump knew that Epstein liked younger women. Trump also signed a note for Epstein in his book, "To Jeff, you are the greatest." Because of this friendship, conspiracy theories began to emerge that maybe Trump is also among those who have some damaging detail in the Epstein files, and that's why he doesn't want to make all the files public. Rumors began to spread among the public about all these things. Due to these conspiracy theories, public pressure increased so much that in November 2025, a bill was introduced in the U.S. Congress stating that the Justice Department must release all of Epstein's files within 30 days. When voting took place in Parliament on this matter, a very rare moment was witnessed where politicians from both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party came together to support this bill. Therefore, despite Trump not wanting it, this bill was passed, and on November 19th Trump was forced to sign this bill. Some Trump supporters were excited that finally, Bill Clinton would be exposed, and the proof of the conspiracy theories that had been circulating for years would be obtained. But when the day of December 19th came, the Justice Department released only a few thousand files. Then on December 23rd, 300 more documents were released. But these documents were heavily redacted. That is, more than half the things in them were hidden using a black marker. It wasn't easy to understand what was being said where in these files. But still, when people read them in detail, what emerged from these files was less about Clinton and more about Donald Trump. Repeatedly, Donald Trump's name came up in the Epstein files. According to one email, Trump traveled 8 times on Epstein's private plane. The same Trump who always said he never sat on Epstein's plane. Similarly, in another email sent to a reporter, Epstein had written, "Trump knew about the girls because he had told Maxwell to stop all this." Meaning, according to Epstein, Trump knew what was happening but still remained silent, didn't tell the police. The new revelations are the most shocking. A call came to the FBI. This call was made by a limousine driver on October 27, 2020, just before the US presidential election. This driver told the FBI that in 1995, when he was taking Trump to Teterboro Airport, Trump was on the phone saying, Jeffrey, and talking about abusing some girl. According to the call record, 4 years later in 1999, when the driver told this to a woman, she became completely silent and then said, "Trump and Epstein raped me." This woman told the driver that some girl took her to a fancy hotel or building where she was raped. Apart from this, in these Epstein files, there was another document, a letter signed by Epstein. The letter was written to sex offender Larry Nassar. It said, "We have one thing in common, our love for young ladies. Our president also loves young girls like we do, but we have to eat jail food, and he is president. Life is very unfair." When this letter was written in 2019, Trump was the president of America. And the most interesting thing is that the Justice Department, which should remain neutral like a government body, started behaving like Trump's personal lawyer. These rape allegations were called untrue and sensational. Similarly, the letter was called fake without showing any report. The same Trump, who before the election was making the Epstein files an electoral weapon, today is himself trapped in it.
The list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
The Epstein thing. But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
The conspiracy theories his supporters were spreading are now backfiring on him. But there is another twist in this whole story. Not all Epstein files have been released yet. More than 1 million documents remain that have not been made public. The Justice Department says reductions are still being made in these documents, which could take a few weeks. Even in the documents that have been made public, many redactions have been made. A black marker has been applied. Names have been blacked out. Dates have been removed. The most important question here is, what else is hidden in these files? It is claimed that Epstein had evidence against powerful people, and there was a complete list of who came to his island. With time, we will see how many more presidents, prime ministers, billionaires, millionaires, and princes are entangled in this, and how many names will emerge in Epstein's black book.